the blue-collar men and women of the trucking industry have gotten more and more interested and more involved in making sure the gears of this country are still running for food supplies and toilet paper in the beginning and all the other stuff, PPE and everything else. And one thing I always try to do on Liquid Lunch is not bring you these, full of turd talking heads that are on the other channels. I bring you real guests, and I always say my guys and women know where the rubber meets the road. These are people that do things, and they're talking from practical experience. And I don't think I've had a guest yet that knows how the rubber meets the road like Mike Kucharski, because he's the co-owner and vice president of JKC Trucking. And their trucks' rubber is hitting the road every single day, keeping America on time and all the things we need. Mike, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on your show.
So, Mike, a lot of people don't realize, when you see the Walmarts open and the ShopRites open and all these other things, there is a whole network of blue-collar workers, truckers, train conductors, checkers, customs people, that are all really doing the work of making sure America stays on time. And I think considering all the crap that's gone on, your folks and the people in the collateral industries like you are doing one hell of a job, and thank you.
Thank you. We're trying to do our best.
So people don't really understand how many blue-collar people are out there pounding the pavement to make sure we can all eat and get our toilet paper and our food and our medical supplies. How many people are involved in moving this economy, even in the pandemic?
So when COVID hit, the spectrum of transportation changed for food supply, most likely for forever in America. The biggest problem was when we all sheltered at home, volumes dropped because half of our business that we deliver is grocery and retail, but the other half is the food supply. Food service, that goes to the restaurants, the casinos, the hotels, the convention centers. When that happened, we lost 50% of our business, which really put a huge damper on us. And then our worst week was Easter week. And then when we lost the volume, the rates fell. So the rates fell up to 54%. So all the blue collar workers, the independent drivers, the company drivers like us, we were all struggling. But how many truck drivers are? Millions. I don't know the exact number, but there is a lot.
Right. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot on the numbers. I know it's an astronomical number, and I know you guys in particular have been forced, now coming out of the pandemic. You had to furlough people. You probably had to lay people off. I don't know how you guys did with the PPE, with the PPP program, if that helped in any way. But now you got less drivers, lower costs, and now you got to ramp up, so you got more runs, right?
Correct. So, we were very fortunate enough that President Trump provided the PPP money to support small businesses, including trucking companies, as he did for JKC, because what happened is the PPP kept JKC going. It gave us the funds that we did not have to cut pay or lay off any drivers. Our drivers are our family. We had to rotate drivers in. This guy would go on the road for a week, and then he would be off for a week. So everybody got a turn, and, since then, we ran out of PPP money, but the economy is picking up week by week. Thank God. It hasn't gone back to pre-COVID, but it's getting busier and busier.
Right. I have been, working since the beginning of the COVID with a bunch of different organizations trying to source PPE equipment like gloves and gowns and masks and stuff, and demand is so high that I'm hearing stories of loads of 60 million boxes of gloves clearing customs, and they got to get to places, and there's just not enough trucks to go get them in some instances. Are we at capacity utilization? Are you guys going to be starting to hire more people now to catch up, or is it just stay put?
No, and you're correct about that. Capacity's jumped because we went from like 50% of business, and now they're trying to catch up because we depleted our surplus or whatever we had. And now you're right, it is certain places hard to get enough trucks to that destination to bring loads back. We are hiring drivers, but the problem is that, since since the COVID, the drivers the drivers are not happy. I mean, it was a rough time. We didn't have the loads. We had to cut pay. The drivers had to drive through and put their lives through COVID. Not getting sick while everybody was sheltering at home. And now with the riots and all the attacks on drivers are fed up. Morale it's in the toilet. That's the worst part. Drivers want to do their job, but some drivers are kind of giving up.
So do you think, we try to tie things together, a lot of people in our audience, small business owners, entrepreneurs and stuff like you and your family, I'm sure. Are the drivers, in your view, or the working man, do you think they're pointing the finger at Trump? Like, we're in this because of Trump? Or do you think people are pointing the finger at China? Like, where does the anger lie with the workers?
I wouldn't say they're pointing to Trump. If anything, I want to say they're supporting the president. They're more angry at China. They houses, just as all of us are frustrated. They don't understand, where this came from, how this happened, and we're still learning. A lot of things that we did, I think we should have done much differently, but we didn't know. The shutdown. The reason we sheltered at home was not to overwhelm hospitals. And after that, after the curve flattened, as they said on the media, we were supposed to go back to work. Houses, we're all supposed to get sick sooner or later, but we were supposed to, not overwhelm the hospitals. And what happened is that didn't happen, which is kind of really put a huge monkey wrench in the economy, because when you're closed, you can't do business.
No doubt about it. Look, we learned a lot through this pandemic. I think most of the sane Americans I know, regardless of what party they're in, they're fed up with government overreach. They're fed up with the government telling us we have to wear masks outdoors. And now Joe Biden is saying wear a mask in your car. Governor Gavin Newsom out in California is saying if you're in a restaurant eating, put your mask on in between bites. The insanity is really an elimination of our freedoms and liberties that I think just all sane people are like, enough already. I'm aware of it. We want to keep the older people safe. Younger people are not really affected by it. The mortality rate is like 99.99999 survival rate for kids. Protect the old people, and then let other people make their own decisions in life. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't, don't. In stores, fine. Everybody wear them just to make everybody feel comfortable. But I think the overreach is crazy. And I hope, look, I think we're all rooting for Donald Trump to win. I think he's going to win. But I'm sure hoping for you guys over at JKC Trucking, they open us back up, and restaurants and hospitality and all that stuff is going to create more loads for you guys, and hopefully more people can get back to work and put more trucks on the road and buy more gas and pay more insurance, which all mean you're making money. So I'm hoping you guys are pumping it out.
Truckers will be at the voting polls in 2020 to support President Trump as Trump supported truckers when we need him. Truckers will support Trump in 2020 when he needs us the most.
No doubt about it. Mike Kucharski says the truckers are for Trump, and I hope we get them all out there. We win this thing, and I think it's going to be a whole new world with Donald Trump on November 4th. Let's hope it's a great year for you guys. Mike, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Mike Kucharski, co-owner and vice president, JKC Trucking. These guys are keeping you fed, you clothed, and you with enough toilet paper for your little tushy there.